Now that we have looked at the two uses of the minus sign, it shouldn't be very confusing for us to understand the subtraction of the integers. Now subtraction of integers will understand or will solve it in terms of addition. So that is very, very interesting. We'll convert the subtraction to addition of integers, and that's how we will be solving the subtraction problems. So let's understand the equivalence between the subtraction and the corresponding addition problem. We will do that using our same example, our example of bank balances and taking on debt and withdrawals. Okay, so that is the same analogy that we will be using again and again. As usual, negative bank balances mean that is my debt. Positive bank balances mean that those are my actual withdrawable savings. If I am doing -3, it means that I am withdrawing that much amount from my bank account. So that by that much, my bank account would actually decrease, my savings would actually decrease. We understand that. Now, another way to decrease my savings is to actually take on more debt. Okay, if I have more debt, definitely my savings would decrease. So, subtraction or withdrawal is actually the same as taking on more debt. These negative numbers, -3, means that I am taking or I am adding more debt, and that is same as actual withdrawal. So here on the left side we have the withdrawal, we have written the expression in terms of withdrawal. On the right side we have written the same expression in terms of increase of debt. So either we subtract 3 rupees or we take on an additional debt of 3 rupees. In both these cases, my actual savings of rupees 4 would decrease by the same amount. Those two things are exactly equivalent, and indeed they are. So the way to derive this equivalent expression is to change this minus sign to a plus. So that is the difference between here and here. We have changed this minus sign to a plus here, and this 3, that is the second operand, we have written its inverse here. So we have negated it. Negation would actually produce the inverse always. Okay, so we have written the inverse of the second operand here, and in this way we have produced the equivalent operation. So those two operations are exactly the same. We have seen that in case of the subtraction of positive integers. So our first operand, our second operand was positive in this case. In this example, this operand was actually positive. In the second case that we would be discussing now, our second operand is actually negative, and we'll understand how we are going to solve this problem. So now the way to read this problem is, let's look at the second problem first. I have a debt of 4 rupees. That's what negative balance means. I told you already. -4 means that I have a debt of 4 rupees. I owe the bank 4 rupees. But I am subtracting my debt, which means that I am paying off 3 rupees of that debt, right? So I am reducing. This is a subtraction, and this is again a debt. So I am from these 4 rupees debt, I am subtracting 3 rupees of debt. That is what this expression is actually meaning. Subtraction of debt is exactly equivalent to making a deposit. So if I pay off my debt or I make my deposit, in both of those cases I am actually increasing my savings, right? That is what we expect. So we'll use that analogy and solve this problem. So what we have done is, instead of solving for the minus sign, for the subtraction of debt, we are now looking at the addition of deposit or addition of savings. This minus and minus actually can be turned into a plus, because we know two negations would cancel each other and they would become a plus. And then this plus can actually be removed, because I don't have to write +3, I can simply write 3. So these two expressions are again exactly the same. Here we have written then in terms of subtraction of debt, removal of debt, and here we have written the same thing in terms of depositing of the money of, right? So positive money I am depositing, which means that real money I am depositing into my bank account. Both of these operations, either this one or this one, would increase my savings by the same amount, and they are exactly equivalent operations. Again, to come from this side to this side, what I have done, I have changed this minus to a plus. So I have converted the subtraction into an addition like I did before, and I have written the inverse of the second operand. So this was -3, and -3 I have written its inverse, which is just 3. So the rule for converting the subtraction into an addition, that is what we would be doing from now on, is to actually change this minus sign to a plus sign. That is what we are doing in each of these cases. Okay, we change the operand, the middle operand, to a plus sign. From minus we change to plus, and at the same time we convert the second operand to its inverse. And these expressions are not only equivalent mathematically, they are actually equivalent in the real world also. In terms of depth, in terms of height, these two expressions are exactly equivalent. So again, the rules are: add the additive inverse of the subtrahend. So the subtrahend is the second operand. So instead of subtracting the second operand, we will add the additive inverse of the second operand. So that is the operation that we would be doing in case of subtraction. If I am subtracting a positive integer, as I am doing in this case, I was subtracting a positive integer, my result would necessarily 100% be lower, and we can verify that. So for example, here I am doing 4 minus 3, so my result would actually be 1. This is minus 4 minus 3, so I am taking on more depth, so my result would be minus 7. So this minus 7 is less than minus 4, and this 1 is actually less than 4. Both 1 and minus 7 are more towards the left than the operand that we started in each case. So when I subtract a positive integer, I am subtracting a positive integer in each of these cases. When I subtract a positive integer, my final result is actually smaller. When I subtract a negative integer, like the top cases, it means that I am actually paying off my debt. I am removing my debt. So naturally, my result, my savings should actually increase, and that is what happens. So in the first case, my answer becomes 7. In the second case, when I do minus 4 and plus 3, you can use the addition on the number line to confirm this, but my answer actually comes out to be minus 1 in this case. In each of these cases, the top one, top two, my final result is greater than the number that I started with, because the final result lies towards the right on the integer number line. So these are the three rules, very important, very important, especially the bottom two rules for your Olympiad problem become very important. So keep those in mind. Now let's look at the property of this subtraction of integers. So we already know the subtraction of whole numbers, it follows, it is not closed. Okay, so we saw the subtraction of whole numbers already, we understood that. So let's say that I was to do 4 minus 3, the answer comes out to be 1. If I were to do 3 minus 4, then this answer comes out to be minus 1. So in the first case, my answer was a whole number. In the second case, my answer, when I did this subtraction 3 minus 4, my answer came out to be minus 1, which is not a whole number, mind you. So in case of subtraction of whole numbers, it was not closed, but in the case of subtraction of integers, it is closed. Why is that? Because this minus 1, although it was not a whole number, it is still an integer, which means that if I take any two integers and I do the operation of subtraction on them, my final answer would necessarily 100% be an integer. Since my final answer is always an integer, if I start with integer and do the subtraction, we say that subtraction is closed with respect to integers. Now what about the commutativity and associativity of subtraction? See, these two cases, when I am doing 4 minus 3, if I change the order of operands around this minus sign, my answer actually changes, which means that the subtraction is not commutative. If I change the order of operands around the minus sign, my answer changes. So subtraction is not commutative. Is it associative? It is not associative either. So for example, if I were to do 4 minus 2 minus 1, and then I were to do this 2, if I associate with this operator here, or if I associate this 2 with the other operator, my answer in both cases would be different. So my subtraction is neither associative nor commutative. But if I were to convert this subtraction into corresponding addition, right? So for example, let's say that I wrote 4 minus 3. What would be the corresponding addition? All we have to do is that we have to change this minus to a plus, and I have to write the inverse of this number. That is how I change it. We know that. Now this addition is actually commutative. It is not only commutative, it is also associative. We know that. And now I can use the property, commutative property of addition, to write it like this. So these two numbers are exactly equivalent, and you can confirm this by plotting these on number line, by solving this on number line, but answer in both of these cases is 1. So let's just do it. So we start with 4 and we go, so we start with 4 and this minus 3 says that we need to go towards the left side. So we go towards the left side and we end up at 1. So this first one we end up at 1. What about the second one? We start with minus 3 and this plus 4, since it is positive, it is saying that we need to go towards the right. So we go towards the right by how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, and magically we end up at the same place. We end up at 1. So by changing this subtraction into an addition, we were able to make it commutative. So addition is commutative, we know that. And similarly, we can also prove that by changing the subtraction to an addition, we can also make it associative. So subtraction by itself is not commutative, not associative. It is only closed with respect to integers. However, we can make it commutative and associative by changing it to by changing the subtraction to addition. And this is very important property. We would be using extensively this property by converting into addition. We would be using it extensively in algebra. So keep this in mind, practice some problems on this, very, very important. Now with this, we understand all the properties of subtraction, all that is to know about subtraction. Let's try to solve some problems based on subtraction. Again, not very difficult problems, very, very simple. Approach it systematically. So here we have our first problem, minus 10 minus 4. All we need to do in this case is we need to change this minus to a plus, and this minus 4, I would write its inverse here. So instead of minus 4, I would write just 4. And now we have converted into equivalent addition, which we know how to solve. So this, here there is a minus, here there is a plus. So the two operands are of different sign. So we'll take their difference. The difference of 10 and 4 is 6. The sign would come from the larger magnitude operand, which is 10 in this case. So sign would be negative. Very, very simple, systematically. Okay, that is the thing. Do these problems systematically. Again, here we have two subtractions, but again we'll convert them to additions. So what we'll do is we'll write the second problem as 50. This is minus, this will become a plus, and the second operand, which was minus 40, will take its inverse, which would just become 40. This minus would again be written as a plus. The second operand is a minus, will again take its inverse and will convert into a plus. Okay, so plus sign is optional. We don't have to write plus 2, we can simply write 2. Okay, so now this subtraction of the integers has become a very, very simple, a trivial addition. This addition we can simply do. 50 plus 40 is equal to 90. And of course, since both the signs are positive, we'll just add it and we'll carry over the sign directly to the answer. And of course, this is 2. And then again, these two numbers are both positive. We'll simply add them together and we'll carry over the sign, which is plus in both these cases. So this answer comes out to be plus 92. As I said before, keep the concepts very, very clear, keep these rules very, very clear, and you will be able to solve each and every problem related to integers. They are not difficult. The only reason why students become confused is because they cannot convert, they are not able to convert the minus into a plus. So they are not able to convert the subtraction into the corresponding addition. So practice that well and you will be all set, because addition in turn is very, very simple. So practice some problems. If you have questions or doubts, put them in the comments below.